All right. Ah, boy, that was a game that happened. Tennessee loses to Arkansas 19 to 14. I don't even know where to begin with this. Some of the worst situational awareness I have ever seen. I mean, Nico just pulled a Joe Milton right there at the end of the game, a literal thing that Joe Milton did against Ole Miss a few years ago.
Was that the mustard?
Oh, yeah, that was the mustard game. And Hendon got hurt. Joe comes in, and Joe chooses to not throw the ball to the end zone. Complete embarrassment. This game is stupid. Let's talk about it. It is brought to you by the good folks, Farm Bureau Health Plan Zen Sports. We'll talk about that later. Sad that they have to get brought into this. But that was a dumb game that ended on an idiotic play by a player who is either not ready yet or isn't going to be the guy that we thought he was going to be. Let's kick us off, Crump. What are you thinking?
Well, first off, the first thing that comes to my mind is the crazy statistic that was 2 top 5 SEC teams getting beat by unranked SEC opponents for the first time in SEC history in the same week. Once again, now wait, hey,
Tennessee's not a top 5 team. Let's start there. Well, not with this offense. That's not a top 5 team out there.
What have I been saying though? Our offense is run first. If we don't run the ball well, we don't win. We're in for 174 tonight. But
that's a decent night. That's a decent night. It was like Tennessee. It was one big run. But
that is not a decent night for Tennessee. Dylan Sampson was 22 for 138 and 2 touchdowns. I don't know what else the man can do.
Yeah. I mean, he was your entire offense and then
I don't know what else he can do himself. Honestly.
O-line was bad, wide receivers were bad, Nico was bad.
Bad reads. All just bad reads, late with the football, sitting in the pocket too long. There's just a lot of things. Now, granted, what have I said? Heupel's whole tenure here. We are going to have problems of sitting in the pocket because of the offense, because everything's option route. So we're always, when things don't look perfect, we're always going to have that complaint because of a lot of things are option route based. So you have to sit and let it develop because you have to figure out which literal option they're picking. So I'm always going to end up saying sitting in the pocket, but that's also a double-edged sword because of how the offense is. O-line played better in the second half. Wasn't phenomenal, but was better. But when push come to shove and we needed a play and we needed a completion, who is the one person we've been able to go to his whole tenure in Knoxville outside of getting injured last year? Brew. Why did we not go to Brew? I know he did get a little banged up. I get that. Him and Thornton both. But just in general, did he have a reception tonight?
I don't think so. No.
Well, no, he had 2 receptions for 9 yards. He had 2 for 9.
Oh, two for okay. Fine. I stand corrected.
Thornton only had 1 for 42 on that last scramble play. Why is Thornton not getting? Thornton's our deep ball threat right now. Why was he not getting targeted? Just things like that I go to in my head that I'm like,
well,
we're
a
good team. We're a damn good team, and that is a big BUT. We're not there yet. Our schedule has been, and everybody's going to do it though. I get it. Everybody's going to kind of cupcake the beginning of the schedule. You need to in today's world. I get it. But it's not challenged us at all. And here's the bad part. We have not played any of the good SEC quarterbacks yet.
Green had a pretty nice game. But I mean, here's the deal.
Nice. Are you going to say he's a top tier SEC quarterback?
Yeah, no, because I mean, here's the deal. At the end of the day, I mean, my score prediction for this game in leading up our show this week, I said 38-20 Tennessee. I pretty much nailed it with Arkansas. I thought they were going to score 20 points. I thought that, and they scored 19. I almost hit it on the number. But 14 points in a game by this offense with Dylan Sampson back there, with the potential that Nico has, with some of the wide receivers that you have there. As you mentioned, I mean, it's one of the deepest wide receiver rooms that you'll find. And this is the product. 14 points against what to this point has been a middling defense. I would say it's been upper half of the SEC, but not great. And so, I mean, what are you doing? 14 points? It's a complete embarrassment. For what you've seen out of Heupel, like the 19 points given up by the defense is still there. Your defense is generally like, you know, it could be better. Your defensive backs got roasted at points, but like, I don't know, man.
With our offense giving up 19 points, you should win in a lot of your ball games. You should exactly. You should win. Giving up, and with our offensive system, giving up 19 points, we should win 95% of our ball games.
Yes.
Now, granted,
exactly.
The defense didn't play great in the first half, but what did we say at halftime, though? They only gave up 3 points.
Yep.
Like, they didn't play great, like, statistically with numbers, but at the end of the day, they only gave up 3 points. It was the bend but don't break. What have we been this whole time, like his whole tenure? Bend but don't break. We haven't given up crazy numbers of points very often. You know what I'm saying?
You had multiple opportunities to just get a few first downs and break their back. I mean, you had the 14-13 lead, and you move the ball some, and this game's over. It would have been done, especially there with 3 minutes left or whatever it was. I probably two first downs, game's over, and you couldn't muster up one. And in fact, I believe it was a false start, and you just, screwed around. So many false starts from Lance Hurd, a 5-star guy that you got in from the transfer portal that I'm sure is getting a pretty penny through NIL. And he stunk tonight. 3 or 4 false starts on him alone.
Yeah.
In this game, it was horrific. And just all the way around, for this to be the effort that you put out there coming off of a bye week leaves me pretty much speechless, because it's shocking how appalling this was from the offense.
Yeah.
Like I said, the defense gave up what I thought they were going to give up almost to the number. But the offense,
and here's the thing, and that last touchdown though was actually given up.
Yeah, they let him score literally. You'll see very few examples of a team where it was so clear they literally stepped out of the way and went, "Here you go ahead." And score.
Which at that point, I'm not going to disagree with that. To at least give ourselves a chance.
Yeah, that's the best statistical choice.
They're going to bleed the clock for 2 seconds, and you're going to have to return a kick. I understand that, and I get that. The part I don't understand. We get down to the 25-yard line. There's 35 seconds left. Why did we snap the ball with 17?
That's a great question.
18 seconds, dude, guys, that is a minimum 2 plays. Minimum.
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing there?
The clock management, all through that.
The clock was running while Herb Street was talking about the scramble, and he was circled the wrong receiver, but whatever. While he was doing that, the clock was running. We snapped the ball, and I was like, guys, we just wasted 18 seconds. We could have, at that point, went for the first down, not the end zone. That's the stuff I don't get. I know we had a timeout. We're trying to save it. I get it. But where I don't get is you blow the timeout with 13 seconds left on the play clock. I don't understand that. Why waste that timeout? There's still 13 seconds left, 6 seconds on the game clock, 13 on the play clock, and we waste that timeout.
The clock management in a general sense coming down in that final stretch was, like much in this game, absolutely appalling. I mean, it was just really bad.
Honestly,
really bad.
The last drive all around sucked, except for the scramble.
You lost.
We fumbled the next snap. Thank God Sampson had awareness.
Yeah, that's the only reason that wasn't a complete screw up.
Yeah,
I mean you got circles coached around you by a guy who in his tenure at Arkansas has been known to be a coach that screws stuff up. Like Pittman has become known to be like, oh, he loses every close game he coaches in because that's who he is. And you lost to that guy.
You
in
wanna
a
know my
close
opinion,
game.
man? My opinion is we just saved his job.
You very well may have. I mean,
Like, I'm
Tennessee,
serious. As I'm
again,
serious, I think we
Tennessee's,
saved his job at Arkansas.
yeah, Tennessee's not a top 5 team, and I think that'll prove itself out. At least not right now. I mean,
Not right now.
the
We can.
offense has to take leaps and bounds before that
Here's
continues.
the only.
It's a top 5 defense.
Yeah, but here's the only positive I'm going to say. It's not a positive, by the way. Is Ole Miss has a loss, Georgia's got a loss, Bama's got a loss, Kentucky's got a loss. See, like Vandy's got 2 losses. At least that helps us in the SEC. It doesn't help us as far as national ranking, but it does help us in the SEC. Now, if we win tonight, we're in the driver's seat the rest of the damn year.
Yep.
But we didn't win tonight. We got outplayed, outcoached, out schemed, out everything. And it's going to hurt me to say this, but freaking Arkansas's offense schematically is on point.
That was good. They did a good job.
Yeah, no, but he does a good job offensive. Now, hey, we all know what he did as the head coach at Arkansas back in the day. He's not a good dude, not a good human. But Petrino is he's a good OC.
But you have locked yourself into, you have to win everything but the Georgia game from here on, or you either have to lose Alabama.
You have to split with Georgia. Minimum, if we lose another game, you have to split with Georgia and Bama. If you lose them both, we're done. If we only lose one of those and still go 10-2, we got a chance.
Yeah,
that depends on honestly at that point. It's not, we don't control our own destiny at that point. To control our own destinies, we got to go 11-1.
And what I'm hoping, and this is at this point hoping against hope, because I don't think that you've seen real signs that this is going to happen. But in the friendly confines of Neyland, in these games coming up where you have a whole set of home games, Nico can hone things in, and this whole operation can get better. You have to just hope that happens, because if it doesn't,
Alabama's coming real soon, and their defense is pretty damn good.
Well, in Florida, Florida. Yeah, they're not a complete pushover. I think, I don't know what ended up happening. They were beating UCF decently.
But still, I'm just saying the reason why they're not a pushover is because now after this performance, the whatever people want to call it, where everybody get about Florida, oh my God, we can't beat them, blah 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 blah, sets in.
Oh yeah,
and you see what I'm saying? Like that's the part that's going to set in this week. If we're 5-0, it's a totally different ballgame. Now we're 4-1 going, oh, shoot, and that's the part that sucks, because they're next. At this point, Florida's not a pushover. Vandy's not a pushover. They've proved that tonight. Now, I'm not going to say, now, granted, we could go put 70 on Vandy. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. Alabama's not a pushover. Kentucky's not a pushover this year. You know what I mean? Like the easiest game from here on out is freaking UTEP.
This really, Justin says here, this looked like a Randy Sanders offense. It really did.
Actually, no, Randy, when Randy had dudes,
Randy had his moments.
Awesome. When Randy had Jason Witten and Casey Clausen in that crew, they were firepower.
Yeah, he had his moments actually, but yeah, in the waning days of Randy Sanders, it got pretty rough.
I give you that.
Yeah, it really does. Like this is more the style of game that you had back in those days, where your defense is powerful and you just got to find the points to score to win the game. And I mean, again, what I will go back to perpetually with this game for this entire week is you score 20 points. Are you kidding me? Score 20 damn points and you win the football game. How hard is that? Like, come on. 20 points? You had 20 points at halftime. Oh, we had 19 at halftime last week against a better defense in Oklahoma, at least a better defensive line. Yeah, you had 19. What are we doing? That's what I can't get over.
We had 10 penalties for 60 yards. I mean,
horrendous.
That's bad. I mean, that's bad.
A very, very consequential one in the blocked, or the running into the kicker.
Yes.
One.
Oh.
So
I think it was a phenomenal acting job.
Oh yeah,
but
credit to the kicker.
Hold on, Timothy asked if I saw his comment.
Yeah, we've had a few sent in. We just haven't gotten to the pay comments yet.
I mean, I'll just touch real quick on Timothy's. Like he had 2 of them.
Holding the ball too long, less option routes, more multiple offensive scheme. I hate the veer and shoot. And then he said, I think Nico might need to stay to a senior year. He's no Archie Manning. I mean, we'll see how quickly he progresses.
Yes. Because that's the offensive system we're going to run. I'm sorry. Like
it is. Teipel's not going to go away from that.
Listen, I've been honest about it his whole tenure. It is awesome when you've got a receiver that runs a 4-3 and you can just freaking run by them and lay that thing up 70 yards. It's phenomenal. But when you don't, this is kind of what you're going to get.
Yep.
I'm sorry. And that's where, is this all on the quarterback? No. Hell no. It never is all on one player. Like ever.
No. Yeah. I mean, he was bad.
But the thing that I look at is the throws that you're making, are they catchable?
Yeah.
At a certain, like, accuracy is one of the best things you could ever have, if not the, because you got to know where to go with the ball first. But a catchable ball is not always accuracy from the fan's perspective, but ball placement, understanding where to put it in certain situations. But when they're just wide ass open, you can't throw it to where they got to fall down. Hence what Arkansas did. Arkansas did this in the first 3 drives on 4th downs. He did the same thing, and they ended up not getting it, right? You got to throw catchable balls. We did not throw the catchable ball in the moment we had to have the catchable ball. And we can't. I love this player. He's going to go down as one of my all-time favorites to watch is Dylan Sampson. I've said that since his freshman year. But it can't only be him. It can't. He cannot. And I'm not saying we got to play 14 running backs. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying the offense cannot only be Dylan Sampson.
Yeah.
And tonight, that's what it was. It literally was him. He rushed for 20 yards less than we threw himself. He rushed for 20 yards less than we threw for tonight. Yes.
James comments. He says, Joe Milton 2.0. Nico missed multiple reads. Tight MVP says, why not call a timeout after that long throw? We blew it. Why not call a timeout after that long throw? I did wonder that.
Timeout, but you gotta
get up there.
Look, you have headsets now.
Yeah.
The clock does not start until it's blown ready. By the way, the officials have to run down there and blow it ready to, like, they set the ball. You've got time to go ahead and get a play in. You've got time to go ahead and literally say the play to the quarterback while everybody's signaling to the receivers and all that stuff. There's no reason to waste 18 seconds. There's not at all.
0.
And it just is hard to see that. It really is. Now, is our season over? No, it's not over. We're 4 or 5 games in, but we if we want to have a chance to do something and not just go to the, Honolulu Bowl or whatever, then we pretty much, one loss is still going to make it tough. Or like one loss is out. It's going to make it tough. You almost got to win out.
Yes. You have put yourself in a tough position that you didn't have to be in.
Yes.
And that's unfortunate because you win this game and you're pretty golden. You could lose, theoretically, you could lose to Alabama and Georgia and still make the playoff and still have a chance at a title. And that's really, really unfortunate. And that's the situation you put yourself in. Now here's probably a question that'll be the big one once people decompress and kind of take in exactly what happened. is Heupel is terrible on the road, and specifically on the road at night. I mean, just totally horrific. Because what I really wonder is if Florida comes into town next week, like the weird position that it'll be. If Florida comes into town next week, you're at home, friendly confines. It is a night game, and then you dispose of them somewhat easily. I think that's still a distinct possibility. Just because the defense is so good, and maybe you can figure some things out with the offense without the crowd noise, the distractions, all of the Lance Hurd false starts, putting you behind the sticks from the start of drives. But I mean, I thought we might have gotten it figured out last week with or 2 weeks ago at Oklahoma. I mean, it's a great win in a huge road environment, but boy, I mean, this dude just continues to lay eggs in these spots. And I mean, this is the king egg to me. 14 points in this guy's offense, in Heupel's offense. I mean, what are we doing? And that's a tough conversation. I mean, there's no like, I mean, maybe you could talk about like Joey Halsley and the job that he's doing or not doing. You know, I'm not calling for any coaches' jobs or anything like that. But like, what's the deal? What is the deal in a spot like this? Why is it perpetually unprepared outside of that one Oklahoma game and a couple of games against Kentucky? What the heck is happening? What is happening in that spot? Because this is a pattern. And I don't know what to even say about it.
I'm hesitant to say, like, to make this comparison. But somebody made a comment a second ago, and I'm not saying I agree and I'm not saying I disagree, but it's funny on how this plays into what I've said about Georgia in the past. All right. So when Kirby gets to Georgia, they start winning, they do all this stuff, blah, 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 right? They go back-to-back natties, all this. Awesome. Cool. Whatever. Well, before Kirby got there, who was the offensive coordinator? Mike Bobo.
Oh, yeah.
No. Who is now the offense coordinator again? Mike Bobo.
Yep.
And you see the lack of just, it's like you're hard to watch. You know, I mean, I'm serious. You know,
that offense is not, I mean.
But here's what I'm getting at. The comment a minute ago was, is Josh Heupel our Mark Richt? The reason why I want to talk about that is because I've talked about that, what I just said with my dad and our friends and all that stuff of, I like Mike Bobo as a person. But Mike Bobo has proven the more the game evolves, his stuff doesn't. And it's not like it's not transferred over. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is I want your opinion on this. Was what's his face at South Florida now? Was he
Alex Golish?
Yes. Was he our version of quote unquote Kirby Smart? Does that make sense?
I mean, it's a fair point because
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. I don't know. I want some feedback here.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of people have been saying, like, was Golish the magic? Like, was that what was really made all that cohesive? Maybe it was Jalen Hyatt. Maybe it was Hendon Hooker. I mean, there's a lot of places you could go.
It didn't hurt that Jalen Hyatt was good. But we also watch this. Also, he also did it. You ready? He also did that with a quote unquote washed up, not very good ACC quarterback. Well, next thing you know, this dude's in the Heisman race. So
yeah,
it wasn't that way. He wasn't that washed up.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That's true.
We saw he wasn't washed up. We saw as Tennessee and the program saw his potential. All of that was, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those. Is like it's hard to say he's not that situation.
Yeah, I mean it's too early to say like, oh, he's a Mark Richt. I've said that about Rick Barnes and the basketball team. I've said he's got a real Richt stripe to him just because he can get to the big game and he just can't win it outside of that one SEC championship. But yeah, I think it's still too early to exactly say. If you take an asset like Nico and it just eventually never goes anywhere, that's when I think a real serious conversation would be had about Heupel. I want to see how they play at home this season. I want to see how they finish out. I want to see where this goes, because specifically the uniqueness of this situation, where the defense, specifically defensive line, is so special, the way that they can really work for you. I mean, I want to see at least this season out, and then maybe have some amount of a conversation like that if it goes that direction. But if you beat Alabama and then you give Georgia a game and you win out and you make the playoff, like, okay, we'll see where we land.
Yes,
but if it's 9-3 in the freaking Tax Slayer Bowl again, then hey, there's some conversations to be had. Yeah, because 9-3, that's the Mark Richt number. 9-3, 10-2. It's so close, but not there.
Exactly. But that's the thing is, if you're not that Mark Richt, you don't lose to an unranked Arkansas. You don't. I'm not saying you beat them by 60. That's not my point, but you don't lose it. Right? Watch this. Look at Saban. Was last year, South Florida. They didn't lose it. You see what I'm saying? If you're a true like champion, whatever you want to call it, champion of life, blah, blah, it doesn't matter. You don't lose that game.
Yeah.
If this is a championship caliber team.
That's true.
Now, Nick Saban on College Game Day did say this morning, I've had multiple teams win a national championship, losing a game, blah, blah, blah. That is true. But the situations back then were different. LSU won a national championship in 2007 with 3 losses. The situations have changed. Yeah, if you're not undefeated or 1 loss, you don't get in now.
Yeah. I mean, you still have, thankfully, you still have your goals in front of you here. And I think this stretch, starting with Florida, is, I mean, this is going to be true kind of perpetually for Heupel's entire time, with different, big stretches and seasons. But this is the biggest stretch of his time at Tennessee, because I think it's shown that it's not just going to be magic with Nico. And what can you do with that situation? How does Heupel handle it? And does the stretch at home kind of solve that? Does it give him time to develop in a more friendly environment where he's not having to handle the whole road and the whole thing? I mean, it's a lot, and for a dude where to this point, this kid has not played a big football game inside Neyland Stadium. He hasn't. He's played snoozer teams.
Yeah.
And whipped Iowa and whipped NC State and whipped Oklahoma. And then we're here. And so he still has not done that. And maybe that happens. I think there's going to be a lot to glean from this season. It's in terms of the Heupel era at Tennessee, I think you're going to learn a ton now that we've seen that this is the depth that your offense can stoop to this season. I will put it this way, flat out, plain and simple. I did not think there was a game where Tennessee's offense would only score 14 points outside of playing against Georgia. I didn't think this was possible.
Even I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say I saw like 40, but I saw at least mid 20s. I mean,
it's like a lack of imagination on our part. I guess it's just like I truly could not imagine that this was even a possibility. I mean, it's like the little rant I had before. It's freaking 20 points. It's 20 points in the Heupel era. I'm sorry, that's a halftime score in most games for Josh Heupel. Like 20, that's all you needed, and you couldn't do it.
Arkansas just gave the recipe, so to speak, to how to beat us.
Yeah,
offensively.
Absolutely, they did.
Well, because if you play inside leverage man-to-man, rock your safeties between a 2-man and or just a 1 robber, so you can still have a semi-spy if you play robber. You can take away any of our little quick screens. You can take away any of our 14-yard stop routes, which are called fallouts. You can take away that stuff. Then if you have a D-line that is worth a damn, and you can get pressure with a 4-man rush like they did tonight, this is what we'll get.
Yep.
This is what it is. We've got to get. I'm not saying you got to get like, create a playbook on NCAA crazy, nothing like that. But like we got to have a little bit of creativity besides inside zone, motion the tight end out to throw a screen, motion the tight end back in to run split zone. Like we got to have something a little different. We do.
Yeah, you have to do something. And maybe this is a wake-up call and the things, the pieces start to fall into place after this, after you got your butt kicked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Watch this. And I'll stand corrected. A comment right here says Oklahoma showed it. Actually, Pittman said it Wednesday or Thursday. Well, there you go. The formula to beat us is out there now. Like with Hendon, it was harder to beat us because Hendon, we had so many design quarterback runs. But who was calling plays?
Yeah. It's true.
It is different. It is different. And that's
let's get to this. Tons of people watching. Everything that we've said there, maybe it was goalish. The whole, everybody heard that conversation. Tennessee loses 19-14 to Arkansas. What is one word to describe how you're feeling right now? Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one with how many people are watching and commenting.
This will get bad.
Drop into the comments and give us your one word for how you are feeling right now after watching what we just had to frankly endure. I think that's the right word. What we had to just endure. Drop into the comments. Give us your one word, and Crompton and I will give ours. But I got to tell you about Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau has been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years. Much has changed in Tennessee over the years, but some has stayed the same. Farm Bureau Health Plans has always valued personal relationships, especially when it comes to good health and good service. Plan on Farm Bureau for health, dental, and vision. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ or walk into one of their 200-plus locations across the state. That is fbhp.com/ATOZ. Farm Bureau Health Plans there. I'm seeing the counter here. 60 comments so far already. One word for how you are feeling currently before we read everybody's responses. I'll throw it to you, Crump. How you feeling?
Just confused.
Okay.
In the sense of kind of what we talked about the whole show, and a lot of people have talked about it comment-wise, just confused on play calling and how the sequence of it, we're like uber predictable right now, like very, very predictable, which is, as a play caller, that's the last thing you want to be called, is predictable, like the last thing, because then you start trying to press and try to come up with things that aren't really sound. Right. And I don't know if that's what they're doing, because it doesn't look like that. But I'm just saying, it doesn't look like they're coming up with anything new.
Certainly not.
That's why I'm confused, because we have a really good set of skill players, and we're not putting them in the position to be successful. At the end of the day, do we have a receiver that's like Williams at Alabama? Not really. Him and the dude at Ohio State are generational talents. But do we have dudes that can go make freaking ball plays? Yes. Do we have guys that can go make an NFL roster? Yeah. At what point are we just going to give them a freaking chance? Yeah. Notice what happened with Alabama and Georgia last week. Alabama's down. All right. 2:31 or whatever to go, or whatever it was. They just straight up throw the dude a go ball double coverage, and he goes and makes a play. Oh, hey, Alabama's down today at Vandy. They just say, you know what? My dude's better
They
than you.
did the same thing.
My dude's better than you. This time they just threw it to the left instead of the right. My dude's better than you. When are we gonna let the, excuse my language, but when are we gonna let our nuts drop?
Right.
It's that simple to me. That's where my brain, like, when are we gonna let that happen? And just go freaking, if it doesn't work, at least you gave it your best damn shot. That's why I'm confused.
It feels, I mean, I already brought up to your point of Heupel Richt comparisons. Again, I think it's a little premature, but we'll see how everything plays out. But I told you I've made that comparison with Rick Barnes. There have been seasons with Rick Barnes where he's had some 5-star guys. Now, this last season with Connect, he fed Connect, and you made it to the Elite Eight for the first time in however long.
And he goes 17th overall. Give the man the ball. What did he do? He gave the man the ball.
But there have been seasons where he had, 1, 2 5-star guys that could just play, just off the charts athletic ability. And it always felt like he's sort of like he was just forcing his system, my way or the highway. We're going to play this way. We're going to do. And he didn't just go out there and be the dude. Go out there and be the dude you are. And that all it was so frustrating to watch. I think, I do wonder, why is there not just more let these guys go make a play? I mean, you even look at the overthrown ball, to the long ball to Squirrel White. Like it's a teachable moment for Nico thinking of that. Underthrow that ball. And
it's got to be catchable. But that goes back to what I said earlier. You got to throw a catchable ball.
Yes, it just has to be in the vicinity, because then you can work on a pass interference. If it's uncatchable, maybe your guy does catch it. There's more options there, and those things have to happen too. Yes. And hopefully Squirrel's all right. It looked like a collarbone, wrist, something.
Because if you notice, they had to try to hold his arm up when he was walking out.
Well, and maybe that's the chance for Mike Matthews, young gun, to get there. The Tennessee's 5-star freshman, like, get that guy in the game.
Really,
it was Chaz Nimrod that they ended up going with instead. But I'm not sure. Well, before I go into mine, let's read what, again, one word for how you're feeling. 1914, Tennessee blows it against Arkansas. Server says depressed. Depressed says Faison. Speaking of Faison Brandy, you're already ready to just replace Nico just like that? Dang. Ethan says normal. Big Ten Jeff.
I will say this.
Of course.
Hey, I will on that how you just that comment you said though. Oklahoma did.
Oklahoma, what?
Gave up on their 5-star quarterback early on too. I'm not saying it's justified, but I understand why comments are saying that, because other teams have done it too.
You don't have another young guy behind him.
That's also why I said in the go find a freaking proven starter in the portal that, like Ole Miss did a couple years ago from old buddy from Oklahoma State. You got to have a true, in today's world, you got to have a true proven veteran backup to win a natty.
I mean, fair enough. Chris Head says overrated. That's how I'm feeling right now, sadly. Dejected says Charles. Hopeless says Jason. Unexpected, Danny. Tremel says douchey. Not sure exactly why. Cole says Seth disappointed. Ryan angry. Jared lol. Depressed. Devastated. David and Tim. Kelly depressed. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the bulk of it. There's so many comments like that. I would just go, I'm not sure exactly how to boil this down into one word. Corner. There's your one word. You've backed yourself into a corner here. You're right. Because you win this game and the world is your oyster. You, like we were just saying, you can go in and now be able to continue to develop Nico within Neyland Stadium, in these next few games. And you would give yourself the runway to lose to Bama, to lose to Georgia, still make the playoff. you just really took away a lot of options that you had.
A lot.
And I mean, as you were saying, misery loves company. Bama, Georgia, Tennessee now all have lost. Missouri got drug all up and down the field today.
That does warm my heart. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, at least you can say Missouri's a bigger fraud than Tennessee, so there's something, I guess.
Yay!
Yeah, moral victories all around. But it just would have been so great if you could have just hung on to win. I mean, there still would have been a lot to talk about here because you would have played terribly. But if the defense steps up there, they don't let them score that touchdown at the end, and maybe you score the winning touch. I don't know. You still would have played like crap in that game, but you would have played crap in that game and won. And so, that's mine. Corner. You backed yourself into a corner. Here we are. Congratulations, everybody. Yeah. I mean, it's been too good of a stretch for Tennessee. Let's be honest. We had this coming. It's been too good. You beaten Oklahoma, the Morgan Wallen concert, the national championship in baseball, everything. It was just too sweet. We had to have something here. But maybe this is a wake-up call, and maybe it turns Tennessee around. I will ask you this, though, Crump. You're honest, and we'll probably pull this out because I think this is going to be the main conversation going forward. We'll probably pull this out for a clip, so just keep that in mind. Your truly honest assessment of Nico and specifically how you feel about the rest of this season with him.
All right. Well, so it was funny you asked that. So what I was doing is I was looking this stuff up real quick. I'm almost done. I got to make sure if this does or does not include certain things.
Okay.
Yes, it does. All right. So I'm almost, I swear. I got to get out a handy calculator. I swear to you, it'll make sense in a second. Maybe.
I hope so. This is a live show right here, folks. I don't know where.
All good. We got this. We got this. Okay. All right. So, damn, it's really not as far off as I thought it was. All right. And going back to the comment earlier about how I was kind of zoned out, but then I commented on it. I said, well, it's justified because Oklahoma did it.
Somebody in the comments said they wanted to replace Nico, or they were talking about Faison Brandon, who's coming in. I was like, oh, you're so quick to want to replace Nico.
And what did I say?
He said Oklahoma did it.
And guess what? Nico has only thrown for like 160 yards more than Jackson Darnold in the same amount of games, same touchdowns, and more interceptions. So same amount of interceptions. All I'm going with is what have we seen as a staff? And this is none of us can answer this because we're not in those meeting rooms, right? But if I'm on that staff, my question is, what have we seen that says this is my guy, do or die till the end, no matter what? Because if another team in my conference is willing to pull the trigger on a younger kid or a transfer kid or whatever the situation might be, because every school's different, and we have the same record, and there's only like 150 yards difference in passing, and we're not even averaging 2 touchdowns passing a game. Actually, we're really barely at 1.5. That's all I'm getting at. I'm not saying bench him. I want to say that. Before I give my assessment, I wanted to bring that up because that's when you were talking, I was pulling up the stats. I'm not saying bench him. I'm saying in the harsh reality of this. No, exactly. But the harsh reality of this line of business is your job is questioned every day. Like, that's just the reality. Your job is questioned every day. So that's the reason why I was pulling up the stats to show. I am not sitting here saying bench him. That is not what I'm getting at. Okay. I want to preference that. But statistically, he has not been as good as any of the two before him at this moment.
Yeah. I mean, he
is averaging, or go ahead while I'm doing this.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, as I already mentioned, it's lack of imagination on my part. I literally didn't think a 14-point game was even possible.
I didn't
for Josh Heupel offense.
Because we're only averaging 177 yards of passing a game.
Ugh. Now, granted, that does count. Two games.
Or Nico is, we'll say it that way. But you know what?
Sure.
Hey, when it comes to the end of the season awards, that's what they go by. They don't go, well, he didn't play this half. He didn't play this half, right?
Yeah. I mean, he sat out. He even sat out the fourth quarter of the NC State game. But
exactly. No, so that is not to his fault. That's a great team accomplishment. When that happens, that is a great team thing. All I'm trying to get at is, if other teams they obviously didn't see something in Jackson Arnold. Otherwise, they don't pull him that quick. There's something that our coaching staff sees in him in a good way. I guess my thing is we've got to stop, and this is for every fan base. I said this a few weeks ago about Cade Klubnik. We have to stop anointing these players, especially at quarterback, the next second coming to Jesus without ever really playing a talented opponent.
Yeah.
Because what I'm getting at is it's unfair judgment on them when it doesn't go said way in one game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here are the facts on the ground. With all that said, they're not going to go to Gaston Moore, so him getting pulled is not an option. And I would say they shouldn't. They shouldn't do that. I do think his ceiling is high, personally. I mean, you've seen some of the throws that he can make, and especially some of the plays that he can make with his legs. I think some of this is the fact that he's not being used to his full potential also. I think some of it is the fact that what we've already talked about, where he's starting his career in the first 6 games, 3 of them being either neutral site or truly hostile road games. I mean, that's not the best, trial by fire. That's not the greatest way to start your career. And so he's, barring injury, he's your guy for the rest of this season, probably the rest of next season.
Oh yeah.
And so I'll ask again.
I'll give my actual assessment.
Yeah, how do you think he's going to come along from here? Florida next week. Their defense is pretty bad. They held UCF to 13 points today. But they're near the bottom of the conference in defense overall. How do you think he'll fare the rest of the year?
Well, the rest of the year, I'm hoping I don't know statistically how he'll be, because I'm not in the meeting rooms with them, like as far as how much we throw and run the ball. I do what I guess my hope and what I want to see out of him is to get more decisive in the RPO game, right? That just comes with that comes with repetition. That comes with, in practice reps, yes, help, but that comes with game reps. All right. Because in practice you do try to script it certain ways from the coach's perspective to try to get a certain look, rather than seeing how you're going to react when crap hits the fan. Right. So I hope we progress in that sense. And honestly, I really want to see him. He throws the ball fine, but you're gonna laugh when I say this. From a quarterback's perspective, the time to get into the game, and Josh Allen is this way. He's even admitted it. He needs to get his damn bell rung once, so he stops running scared. And realizing, oh hey, I'm not gonna die. Like I'm not getting my head taken off right this second.
Because honestly, how slippery he is.
But if you notice though, when he's about to get hit, it goes.
He crumples up. Yep.
Just run free. Now there's a time to get out of bounds, a time to slide, and all that. Yes, but just I think he needs to have that careless mentality when he's running. Like, I'm also a big human being too. So that's where I hope he progresses the most, because then the down the field throws are going to open up. That's when they get opened up because RPOs, short underneath throws, being accurate with those, being more efficient with those, being quicker with those, getting the ball out of your hands. Now they jump up. Now we can run by them. That's because then Thornton can run by. Squirrel can run by them. We can't run by them when they're 14 yards off.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. I mean, we can't. Nobody can run by somebody that is just at this level that is sitting at 14 yards deep waiting on it. Even Jalen Hyatt can't do that. But he had the RPO game was tremendous. Quarterback run game was really, really good then. So they had to prepare for a lot of stuff, and they came down in the box more, so we were able to go by them. That's what I want. That's what I want to see him progress in, is the RPO game and more free and careless in the QB run, not with the ball and not just running to run, but like every now and then it's okay to put your head down and go. I'm not saying go in there and try to run over Florida's 400-pound D lineman. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying every time you're about to get hit, don't tense up and crumple and almost like put your body in reverse.
Well, I would go and show. I wouldn't show much of the Butch Jones era to anybody, but I would show specifically how Josh Dobbs ran the football, because I always thought he was really smart when plays broke down, and he intelligently sought contact. Like I thought where he picked his spots, and he honestly has a decently similar build to Nico.
But see, Hendon was really good at it too, and this is the same system.
Yeah, he was.
So
That's
it's
true.
a lot easier. It's a lot easier for your brain to process when it's the exact same system.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it just, I mean, in like this comment right here, and somebody asked me earlier, I don't know where it's at, about are we run first? I've been saying that for 4 years. We are a run first football team. 100% we are. But then where it was like it's hard to not be predictable. I'm using my words. I can't find it. Hard to not be predictable when it's run, pass. Run, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at right now. So I'm hoping we get the passes get opened up more when some of those runs are QB runs. But in our QB runs, he's got to be willing to put his body on the line to go make a play every now and then. Not every play calls for that quarterback run. But we can't I'm serious. Like, and I've thought this before this season, watching him run, it's almost like when he's about to get hit, he tries to go in reverse before he gets hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just go. Just do it. Put your head down and go. It's all right. You know, if it's 4-on-1, obviously you're probably gonna have to make a business decision. I'm not, I get it. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, certain times be smart, but not every time do you put your foot in the ground and go poof, and try to backpedal away from getting hit.
Yeah. Well, hopefully with these games coming up in Neyland, they can get their act together more where they're not in a hostile environment, having to deal with that whole side of things, like clean up the penalties. And as we already said, your goals are there, but if you're going to score 14 points a game, they're not. Like, period. I said it earlier for anyone that wasn't listening. I mean, my prediction for this game was 38-20 Tennessee, and Arkansas nearly hit it on the number. And Tennessee's offense blew up in a way that I literally didn't think was truly possible.
Yes.
So score 30 points a game. And with this defense, it seems like 30 points a game is going to win you most games with this defense.
It seems like it.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair assessment over maybe not Alabama. But I think Georgia's offense is pretty wretched. Like,
what
30 will win it.
What's giving our defense the most problems? What did you think?
Giving our defense the most problems? Well, I mean, it's always, the DBs just perpetually,
Not this year. Not so far. Not the biggest problem. No. Yes, but like the biggest problem. And I'm going to come to this. Remind me to find Charles's comment. It's a great question, but I want to hear what y'all think first. There it is. A mobile quarterback.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We play a mobile quarterback. It hurts us. Our D line is made for a pocket passing quarterback, which is okay. What I'm afraid of is Florida's going to get sense of that and put that freshman in
Yeah, Lagway.
That can move way better than Mertz.
Yep.
But if Mertz is in there, that's an advantage us.
I kind of feel like Billy Napier's too stupid to do that, but we'll see.
You never know. But it really, so we've got to be able to take care of what we're supposed to do against Florida, because who has a mobile quarterback?
Well, good Lord. Alabama certainly does.
The very next week. That's what I'm getting at. And that's where it hurts. But I want to talk about this comment. It was a question from Charles that we find. It says, can we not just run against these 3-3-5 defenses? How do we make that more successful? A 3-3-5 defense. So for everybody understanding, a 3-3-5 means 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 DBs, right? And depending on your formation, depends on how the 3 linebackers are lined up. But typically in our offensive formations, in a 3-3-5, you'll end up having one more in the box than we can block, just because of pure mathematics. Because if we have a tight end in the box, it brings another DB closer. So he may not be in the box count, but he's an edge setter if we bounce anything. Yeah. It's when you play 3-3-5, you got to be able to freaking throw the football.
Period.
You got to be able to throw the football. Guys, we can't throw the football right now. I'm sorry. Going into this season, I thought we were going to be able to throw it all over the field.
I did too.
I've said it multiple times. We have one of the deepest receiving groups, and we're not using them. But when you get a 3-3-5 defense, you've got to be able to throw the football. So you spread them out a little bit, and now you can run it. A 3-3 stack is 3 down linemen, so 1 dead over the center, and then what's called 4 techniques, they're over the tackles, okay? Then you have 3 linebackers literally stacked behind them, all right? Like, this is why it's called 3-3 stack. That is one of the easiest defenses for linemen to block against in the run game, because of where they're at. Their pre-snap alignment is so predictable because it's a stack. You know where they're going to go. So it's easy to get angles on is what I'm getting at. It's never easy to block, but angles are the easiest to get to. Well, if we're bringing tight end in the box, now the nickel linebacker is coming on the overhang. All right. Well, we love inside zone, and we need a tight end to block. Well, now if we try to zone read, we have nobody for the nickel Sam. It means we have to RPO, which means we have to RPO running slants. Alabama won a national championship doing nothing but RPO slants with all those guys. Literally.
That's true. Yeah.
They won a national championship by going RPO slant, slant, slant. We have to be able to RPO slants when we bring a tight end into the box against a 3-3-5 defense. We're not adjusting that, guys. That is the simplest adjustment known to man in football. We're not even doing that. I don't know why. That is, I'm not in the meeting rooms. I couldn't tell you. And the comment
I don't
about
get it.
I don't either.
He can deliver that. He can deliver that pass. He can.
Like I said, but this is, once again, I don't get it. If I showed y'all my game plan sheet from my high school, y'all would go, holy crap, you're a psychopath. Yes. Because we have an answer for everything. We adjust in the middle of the game. I just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, because we haven't played since, I had my tight end 4 touchdowns in a game off of adjustments during the game. Why? Because we can adjust during the game. And I'm not saying I'm the smartest man. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just talking about adjustments. I'm just saying you got to be able to adjust. And a slant RPO is the easiest adjustment. It is. All right. And then somebody asked why we can't throw the ball. We can't. It's hard to throw it when every route is an option route. And when they're sitting at 14 because they're really not scared of any of us throwing slants or hitches or any of that. They're just playing 14 yards off and going, you're not going to run by me. So our 14-yard stop routes, it's actually, this stuff's really fun for me, by the way. Sorry. So a 14-yard stop, the best coverage to throw that against is press man. Okay. And the reason why is when you get an outside release, you sell the go route. So the DB turns his head and looks, and then you stop at 14 yards. Because once DBs are taught, once you get 10 to 12, if the receiver's head turns, your head turns. That's why you stop at 14. See what I'm saying? And we run those, but nobody's press manning us right now. It's really easy to sit there and stop it against zone coverage 14 yards off. That's the stuff that we've got to be able to literally effectively run an RPO to get them to come back up. So now we can run by them. And that's all it is. Did we get our butt kicked tonight? Yeah. We got our butt kicked on the field, on the sidelines, in the booths. Honestly, the only place we didn't get our butt kicked tonight was probably the equipment guys. Because those guys are I'm being serious, because those guys are top notch. Those are probably the only place we didn't. That's probably the only place we didn't get our butt kicked tonight. And it's just what it is. I like talking adjustments and what we should do, in my opinion.
I
can talk about this stuff all night, but we don't need to.
It's a perpetual thing we've had that conversation before. He is a my way or the highway type of dude.
Yeah.
And you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Our defense holding that offense to 19 points after how they started. I mean, I was hating on the defense at halftime, but what was the bottom line? They gave up 3 points. Yeah. It's just what it is. Our defense, if we only give up 19 a game, guys, if you would have told me we only gave up 19 a game all year, I would have said we were 12-0.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that is the part that makes me the absolute most ill here.
Yeah.
Is it's not like they ran it up on you, or you unexpectedly you let them score 45 points and so you lost. They scored the amount pretty close to what you thought they were going to score. And you couldn't muster up 20 points. I mean, I can't say it enough because it's just so shocking.
Oh no,
20 points.
Trust me, I completely agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And again, I tie it back to already what we've talked about. Heupel sucks on the road in a night game. That Oklahoma game was the exception, not the rule. And he's made a habit out of this. Don't know what it is. Hopefully he gets it together with Florida next week. But I'm not sure.
I'm going back to last year's schedule and looking at our losses. 10 points, 7 points, 20 points, and 16 points. All right.
They don't really lose close games typically.
But here's the thing. Well, no, I say only, but Florida, we only gave up 29. We gave up 34 to Bama, 36 and 38. Our defense is playing better this year than it was last year in games. Now, granted, I'm not talking about the previous. I'm not talking about NC State, Chattanooga, all them, but Oklahoma and Arkansas, SEC opponents right now, statistically, is playing better than last year.
Yep.
They are. But the crappy part is we can't give up 16 unanswered points, meaning our offense has to go freaking do something.
Yeah, period. There is zero excuse for losing this game. You couldn't score 20 points. And I don't say that to disparage Arkansas at all.
Arkansas played the game they needed to play.
Yeah, this defense against any defense in America should be able to score 20 points.
Yeah.
This offense against any defense in America should be able to score 20 points.
Yes.
Period. That's it. That's all. Arkansas should have had to score 35 to win this game. Like that, if Tennessee played correctly, that is, my final point. That's it.
It is confusing, but I do love getting. Sorry, my computer's okay. It's 19%. We're good.
We're pretty much done. Yeah.
Questions about the schematics of football. I love those. So anybody ever has those questions, throw them in here. I'm free to talk about them. That stuff's fun. I know enough about this offense to tell you what we are and aren't doing without going too deep. Say it that way. It's just I've said it since he's gotten here. I love his energy. I love the way he treats the players. I love the way the players do play for him, or the old cliche would die for their coach, blah, blah, blah. But go back and look from the time he got hired. Have I ever been in love with the system?
No, you have not.
I have not.
You haven't.
And that is you're not going to love every system. That's part of it. But I have never been a huge proponent of this offensive system. I mean, be honest with you, I'd rather have Mike Leach's air raid than this. Now, granted, you're going to run the ball 3 times in a season doing that. But I'm just saying, but at least there's answers to almost everything in that system. Army and Navy, there are answers to almost everything in their option system. On paper, there's an answer to everything in this veer and shoot system. On paper, but you disguise it as 2-man, and 2-man means that everybody's underneath is man under, man to man. You got this cat, you got that cat, but we're inside leverage. Because where are a lot of our routes thrown? Across the middle. Well, it's really hard to play across the middle. Notice that Slaughter got us late on that drive because he knew what route was coming, and he hard inside and threw the guy over the top and then undercut it and almost picked it off. Because we try to throw so many, over routes or, whatever everybody calls them different in their system, like the name. But doing that, you play a disguised 2-man and you go to wherever your dude or their dude receiver is, and you play that safety like it's 2-man, but then drop him down late, send the other one back to the middle of the field, and now you can cover everybody because in this system, we hardly ever throw the ball like deep out to the field. What do you think Oklahoma and Arkansas has done the past 2 games? Our offense has been very stagnant the past 2 games because he cannot, at the moment, he cannot throw against man-to-man coverage.
Yeah, I mean, stagnant is being kind to what we watched in this one. Good Lord.
It's frustrating.
That's really the long and the short of it. Embarrassing loss, really terrible. Not the end of the season. I did see a tweet. So Miami is losing to Cal, I think if they end up losing, it's like number 1, number 4, number 7, 8, 10, and 11 all will have lost today. I mean, guys, just total.
Listen. We'll just go back, start week 1 over. You know what I'm saying?
It kind of feels that way in a sense.
Everybody just start new, no biggie. No, dude, that's crazy. I didn't know Cal was winning. Let's go.
Yeah, Miami got pushed majorly last week. Maybe they've been cruising for a bruising. So yeah, 21-10 start of the third quarter. So
let's go. Here's the thing. Like I said a few weeks ago or at the beginning of the year, I want Stanford Cal ACC championship game.
Well, Stanford sucks, so I don't think that's going to happen. But
that's not going to happen. But you know what? I still got hope in Cal. Let's go.
Yeah, they're on track. Stanford lost to Virginia Tech by 31-7 today. So,
and everyone, by the way, Virginia Tech, they really did beat Miami. Well, that was a catch. Just saying.
I agree.
Hey, and Vandy beat VT. Guys, Vandy's not a pushover this year. I'm just saying. Vandy and Kentucky will always be Vandy and Kentucky in my mind.
Is Georgia State the best team in America? Folks are asking. They beat Vandy. Vandy beats Alabama.
Well, here's the thing, though. Oklahoma State beat Arkansas.
Yep, and Oklahoma State is terrible.
So here, the bottom line is you just got to be the best team on that day. It's that simple. You can't win it if you ain't in it. We got to find a way. Sorry, Cal pick 6. Let's go.
This is from Austin Stanley. Cal pick 6. This is great. And he texted us and he said, from the top 20 teams today, 7 wins, 6 losses, and 7 buys.
This is
folks on bye got to be happy.
They're about to jump up. So here's all we have to do. Like I said, you can't win it if you ain't in it, right? We got to. It's the old gut check time, nut crunch time, whatever you want to call it. You got to dig deep, find a way to go. How do we win? Like today, not tomorrow, not blah blah blah, not blah blah blah. How do we win today? Meaning at practice. How do we win? Or tomorrow? How do we win tomorrow's film study? How do we win Monday practice? How do we win Tuesday's practice? How do we win Wednesday's practice? You either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. And we have to have that mindset of let's win today, and that'll transfer over to Saturdays. And every Saturday, you just got to be 1-0. And I know that's
cliche. The coaches too.
I know that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. The whole building. I know that's cliche, but that's how we're going to get this in, because you can't win it if you're not in it. It's that simple. We got to find a way. This was my question 2 weeks ago because of the bye week. Would you rather have a home playoff game or be the top 4? I could give, in this day and age, it is all fine and dandy to hang that banner that says SEC champions. I want the national championship banner. It's all great that Rick Barnes and them won the SEC, but they didn't win the Natty. Does that make sense? We just got to be one of the top 12, which for the champions, group of 5 is number 5, so there's 7 spots available. 7 spots. How do you get to that point? Ultimately, it is by winning the SEC, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, you got to, at the end of the day, you've got to be one of the 7. You got to win every day, better than the one before, and they got to hold each other accountable, and they can't be afraid of hard conversations.
Yeah, just get there.
It's that simple. You cannot shy away from the hard conversation as teammates, as coaches, and as players to coach.
Yeah,
those conversations have to be had.
Is this we had a players only meeting type of week? It might be.
No, I don't think we're there. I don't personally. I just think the bottom line is the hard conversations got to be this, and this have to be done, or we'll go to boom, 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 whatever the scenario may be. The players only meetings, those are all, you want to know the truth? 90% of the time, that's just for people to make themselves feel better. Like players only meetings, because there's a lot of players that sit there and go, dude, this was freaking pointless. Like, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of that. I'm not saying they're all pointless, but a lot of them, especially after one loss. Now, if you're 1-5, hey, you might need to have that meeting. Florida State, you probably need to have that meeting. But at 4-1, we don't need to have that meeting. At 4-1, we're probably going to, we'll probably drop to number 10. That's just my assumption, because the teams that have lost, I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
We're not dropping out of the top 25. The sky's not falling. We just played like dog poop today.
Yep.
So, but that's what I'm saying, the hard conversations, because it's a money-generating sport. It's one of the top money-generating universities when it comes to football. Those conversations have to happen to get where you want to get to. And I'm not saying they're not happening, because I'm not in the building. But to me, they need to happen a little more often right now. Say it that way.
I mean, the key right now, you got to just go. This should be a week where you come out angry and you kick Florida's teeth in. I mean, do well. I'll ask you this: the very, very last thing here. Prediction for Florida. What happens?
No, I mean, I think we beat them. I've said that all year. I don't think Florida's very good.
Yeah,
I really don't.
No, and it's night game in Neyland. Like,
hold on. Ooh. Hypothetically, if worst comes to worst, who would your top 2 targets be? Just curious who you would jive with offensively. Like targets on the team, like receivers? I'll wait for Ethan to respond. Like, if you'll expand that just a little bit. And see, because that's a good question, because that could go multiple ways. Coaches. Coaches already got number 1 in mind.
This is like for offensive coordinator.
Or yeah. Let's do it that way. Coordinator or head coach, or quarterback coach, or like whatever. I always think of this stuff though, because I'm a weirdo. Like I think he just says offensive scheme. Yeah, like for just OC or head coach. Because I have a
yes.
Yeah, I know. I have a list of people who I think are going to go to Florida because I think old buddy's out. But that's just me. I have a list of OC. Ooh, that's a toughie.
Bring Alex Golish back somehow. Good Lord.
He'll have a chance to be in the ACC in a year or two.
Yeah. He's turning USF around.
I'll tell you that. Or he has a chance to go to Indiana when Indiana's coach screws around and goes to Florida.
Yeah, they're having a great year, Indiana.
And who is he a disciple of?
I honestly don't know.
Nick Saban.
Oh.
And he's won at every level he's been in or been at. And now he's got Indiana to it's either 5 or 6-0.
Yep.
Now, granted, it's not been the hard schedule, but still,
it's the Big Ten.
No, he's about to hit it. He's about to hit his gauntlet here soon. But if I were to try to say OC, just OC, because if you want my opinion, I think Heupel's calling the plays. If you watch him on the sideline, the way he holds his game plan sheet, he's calling the plays.
He is.
And I think that's once again, hard conversations have to happen. I'm wondering if that's the conversation that has to be had that goes, hey, man, you need to just focus on the game and relinquish this to somebody else. Like, honestly, the style of system that we run is not too awful far off of what Coastal Carolina used to run. Theirs was a little more option-based than ours, but I'm saying that to say don't overlook Willie Corn at Liberty, OC. Willie's a really good offensive mind. Willie's a good recruiter. They obviously did really well at Liberty when he went there from Coastal. He would be on the short list for me. I'll say it that way. Because of what the system we run, it would transfer over closer to Heupel's stuff. Now, if I was going to go hypothetically, everybody got washed out, I'm calling Chadwell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's just what it is.
But Heupel's keep it in house. He really likes continuity.
Yes, which you got to respect, because if you notice, that's what Liberty did, Coastal going to Liberty going to Indiana. Like everybody does that now. You keep your dudes with you until they get a promotion.
Yep.
What I don't want to see happen is like at Purdue, where they just fire the OC 5 weeks in. I don't think that's a good look, because that tells me that you have given up on your system.
But yeah, I mean, I think if the season, if you don't start scoring more than 14 points in a game, that might be a move to make. I don't know.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, but watch this. When did Georgia take that last little hump before Rick? Now they went up and then they went back down, though. Say it that way. They did go up early when Bobo first took over OC, when Rick finally let him call the plays. But then it ended not great, but still. It took Rick until like 2012 or 13 or whatever it was to relinquish play calling. There may have been a little earlier than that, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Even though Bobo was the coordinator, he didn't call plays for a long time. Same thing with Kiffin. Same thing with Kiffin. Kiffin calls the plays.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't come to some hard-headed nonsense like that. But you never know. Yeah, so many of these guys are like, they just believe in themselves to a fault, and I don't know. It's still too early to be.
Oh dang, Ethan, that's the best one. I'm done after this one. I swear, that's the best one that I've heard.
Chadwell over Bronco
No.
Mendenhall.
Nope, I get it. He goes, I just get a Dabo Bible Heupel. All those offensive hires are in staff, which is because think about it. Dabo's system has kind of started tapering down when his two OC or his co-coordinators and D coordinator left him.
It makes a difference.
Dabo's not the one calling. He's not calling the shots in that way. Damn, I didn't think of it that way.
It makes a difference, man.
Damn, it does. Like that. That one got me. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, it's almost 1 a.m.
I need to go to
local
bed.
time, Eastern Standard Time. I will say, just to end it here, Cromp, you're in Western North Carolina, right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
You were good to go. Obviously, you're here with us with the lights on and internet working.
Yeah.
But a lot of people around you aren't doing that well. And so we put a whole set of links down below. It's the same links that I had in the show this past week. Go explore that if you want to donate your money or your time or your resources to the good folks over there. I don't know if you want to say anything there before we bounce out of here, Crump, but just needed to mention that on the way out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, our area got hit with the worst it's ever been hit in the history.
It's crazy.
A lot of resilient people, a lot of companies from Ontario, Canada, Detroit, Michigan, up in Connecticut, coming down, power companies that are here for a long time, trying to make sure everybody gets back up and running, debris cleanup, a lot of volunteering opportunities that have been taken by a lot of teenagers that have just wanted to go out and help with everything. So, our area is grateful for what has been given. It's just, it was tough. Luckily we're about 9 or 10 days in, so it's starting to settle a little bit. It's always tough trying to get back to whatever normal will be. And so just keep everybody in your thoughts in this area, if you don't mind. It's been tough for a lot of people. It really has, but we'll always get through it.
Like I said, go down, check out all the links down below. One of them is to a tweet of mine where I asked people to send in links, and so just look at the replies on that tweet. Ton of good resources there. Just check it out. And otherwise, this stunk out loud.
Yep, it did.
Boy.
Yep.
Tennessee sucked eggs tonight, and what are you gonna do? Here we are. We were flying too close to the sun with the Oklahoma win and the Morgan Wallen and all that stuff. Had to come crashing back down to earth. I'm Charlie Burris. That is former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton. We will be back for that Florida game. Win, lose, draw. Join us right here. A to Z Sports Nashville and A to Z Sports Tennessee Vols are the YouTube channel, specifically that A to Z Sports Tennessee Vols. We're trying to get the subscribers up. Go over and subscribe. All Tennessee content, no Titans content over there. And we got Lucas Panzica doing videos for us if you listen to him on 104.5. It's good stuff. Anything else as we're on the way out, Crump?
I think it's about it. We covered a lot. This is probably the longest postgame show we've ever done.
I think it is, but in a situation like this, sometimes you got to just talk it out. So
exactly.
There you go. Thanks again to everybody for watching. Seriously, we could not do this without you. We truly appreciate it, and we will talk to y'all next week.